The Fran McCaffrey extend my career run begins card. 77-70. The Hawkeyes win. I predicted this one. I think I talked you into this one. I'm very happy that we were on the right side of history with this one. This was exactly what I thought may happen here. We got a game where Iowa made shots, 42% of their threes, 90% of their free throws. Peyton Sandford, 17 points. Josh Dix, 16 points. And you add that up, it was enough to outplay Ohio State, who got a great Bruce Thornton game, to be honest. 24 points and 9 assists. He was the Ken Palm MVP even in the loss for the Buckeyes. But down the stretch, plenty of opportunities for both teams to win this game. Iowa made more plays than Jake Diebler could dial up helpful things for his team. I didn't see much from the Buckeyes head man on the sidelines. What did you learn from this win for the Hawkeyes?
I learned that everything that we talked through in the game, and when it comes down to whether you want to trust Bruce Thornton, you want to trust Diebler, they're going to let you down. And this was a letdown spot, even when they did battle back, because I think they did get good performances. As I say, Bruce Thornton was really good in this game. 24 points, 9 assists, like you stated. He obviously did enough for his team to win in this basketball game, and Devin Royal was really good as well. So was Micah Parrish. But it came down to this. It was winning time. And Diebler was playing, what's that game where you guess letters and then you draw body parts? He was playing hangman on his clipboard while Fran McCaffrey was coaching for his life. And his guys were making plays. And Sanford, whether it be Price or Peyton, were making plays. Brock Harding, the cosplayer of Braden Smith, with a big time dagger shot in this game, wide open, knocks it down. Um, this simply came down to Iowa making more plays and Iowa being more effective from the 3-point line in this game. Iowa really saw no resistance. They were 66% from two, they were 42% from three, while on the other hand, Ohio State is 5 for 22 from distance. Like that's just not going to get it done. It's tough to see John Mobley Jr. have a tough game in his last game of his freshman season, at least before the crown. As he shot 2 of 8 from three. Micah Parrish was 1 of 6 from three. You're just not going to win many games shooting that bad from 3-point range for a team that has been good from 3-point range.
In Ohio State's last five losses, they lost 5 of 7 to end their regular season and then into this game. John Mobley shot 22% from three. This is a guy, you remember how he shot the first 3 months of the season, Carter, the first month of the season. He was above 50%. We were sitting here 10 games into his career acting like he truly might be the most efficient guard in the country. It was on pretty high volume, too. And I don't want to necessarily just use the word or the term freshman wall because I don't love that term. I think guys have ebbs and flows, and it's not like their season just falls off the rails at a certain point because they're young. But one thing that's absolutely true, the season wore him down, and he was at his worst in the final month. And he was asked to play a bigger role that he wasn't playing early in the season. It was a very high volume role. It was asking him to shoot 8, 9, 10 threes a night. And he goes 1 for 8 from three against Indiana in the loss. They lose by 6. He goes 2 for 8 from three in the loss to Iowa. They lose by 7. There's your game to me. Like you got consistent things from Bruce Thornton. You got consistent things from Devin Royal. I still struggle with this team because I look at this Ohio State roster and I believe they have a bunch of good players. And I keep asking myself, why have they lost 15 games? And I don't know who to blame, Cart.
Well, can we? I got a starting point for you.
Where should we start?
Let's start with the man who's in charge of putting these players on the court to be successful.
Okay, that'd be Mr. Jacob Diebler.
Yes, this is because this is who they fired Chris Holtman for, right?
Correct.
Did Ohio State make the tournament last year?
They have not made the tournament in 3 years running now, I believe.
Three. Okay, so 3 years running. You look at this team. You have Bruce Thornton, you have Devin Royal, Micah Parrish, Mobley. Say what you want, but you also have Bradshaw and Stewart, and you can't make the tournament. Also, like, not can't make the tournament. This was a must-win game.
Yeah.
You knew the spot. Like this wasn't there was no blurred lines about you need to win this basketball game. And you lose to Iowa. No disrespect to Iowa, but like you in a must-win game to have a performance like this, to shoot the ball like they did, to look lost a lot of the times in the runs that were going on by Iowa, like defensive breakdowns, guys getting wide open shots, shooters getting shots in transition where it seemed like, there was no sense of like matching up. I mean, just an utterly disappointing performance as a former Ohio State basketball fan.
As a former. And okay, utterly disappointing performance is one thing, but also like think about the big picture last month for this team, Cart. Starting with that air ball that Thornton had at the end of the Michigan game. You had a shot to win the game basically against Michigan, air ball uncontested, gone. All right, whatever. What's our record at that point? They finished they were 15 and 11 at that point, with a lot of winnable games coming. That was not the end of their season. But you follow up that Michigan air ball with a 70-49 loss at home to Northwestern.
Mm.
To me, that was the moment that this season ended. That's an inexcusable loss. That's a game that if you watched that game, Cart, they didn't get off the bus. And they didn't even need to get on the bus. But they weren't there. It was like the most lifeless performance of the season. There was no fire in them after those games either. I mean, they lose at UCLA, but really, this came down. You needed one of these games, Indiana or Iowa, and you're in the NCAA tournament, and you couldn't get one. That's a huge indictment on everybody involved. And you have to put blame on Diebler because he's in charge of this operation, but I blame. I don't even know if it's necessarily his fault. Like, guys aren't making plays. Mobley can't hit a shot. Bruce Thornton let him down at times, not in this game. So I don't know. It kind of doesn't it feel exactly like the Holtman years? They had a better record this year, but like you're just watching this team with talented players on it feel like they underperformed relative to what they should be.
But like during the Holtman years, during the good times, he was still spitting out really good regular season basketball teams.
The end of the Holtman years.
Oh, the end. Okay, yeah, it's very similar to that. Yes, it is
Yeah.
very similar. I think not to make a rash move here, but I think Ohio State needs to realize they made the wrong choice and pivot from this sooner rather than later. I'm not a dealer guy.
I just don't think they're going to do that though. Like he's going to get at least one more year, but I don't know. If I'm trying to diagnose like where was the moment Diebler went wrong with all of this, you look back to the offseason, how did he want to build this roster? Because he got the guys he wanted. Like there's some coaches I look at their finished product of a roster, I'm like, that's not what he wanted to happen. There's something missing from what his plan was. I look at Jake Diebler's roster. I think this is exactly what he wanted to have, Cart.
It's not exactly.
He wanted Michi.
Yeah, which
That's another indictment on him. But like his plan was this. His plan was Bradshaw and Stewart. And by the end of the season, both those guys have been unplayable. And I mean, shit, Michi's the third. Basically, that was the three faces he was bringing in that we were supposed to be excited about, right? Michi, Bradshaw, and Stewart. And I can't think of a three-man class that underachieved more than that. Micah Parrish was a good ad. Royal's obviously developing. Mobley's a good player. But man, the vision that Diebler tried to sell with this roster, I think, is the scariest part of what came to fruition here.
yeah, and like look, you can look at some situations where like injuries didn't go their way. I mean, we looked at a season of Big Ten play where guys were getting sick left and right. This was a lot of just Ohio State just being themselves. This is what they are.
Yeah.
And they had some good non-conference wins, and you thought they could do enough in Big Ten. I think that's what's even more disappointing. They did enough in the non-con and picked up enough key wins where all they had to do was just not be that bad in Big Ten play. Just be good enough to make it. And in all the big moments, Dale Bonner wasn't there to save Diebler,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, Stewart and Bradshaw combined for 2 points on 6 shot attempts, 0 for 4 from the free throw line, and 10 rebounds in 31 minutes in this game. That was the two guys that you brought in to be the face of your front court, and that was the story of the season, in my opinion. There was one play in this game. I laughed literally. I audibly chuckled alone in my basement watching this, and I'm hoping you saw it. Because if you were with me, we would have had a toast. We would have clinked glasses to this one. There was a 2 point game, I believe. At this point, Ohio State had kind of cut the 7 point lead back down, and all of a sudden, the ball goes to Evan Mahaffey in the paint with like 5 minutes left, and Mahaffey is not being guarded. He's got 2 feet in the paint. Nobody's within, like, you could reach out and no one can touch him. He could turn around and make an uncontested layup. And instead, he, like, doesn't look at the hoop, jump passes, and throws it straight out of bounds, and then did this.
Listen, you just got to put him around the right talent. He's a glue guy. He's a glue guy.
Cart, come on. Like, but that guy was on the floor in crunch time. Not even, like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not even like, is it bad he's still playing and we've joked about this guy for years? He's Diebler's trusted guy in crunch time. Why is he on the floor?
I can't give you a good answer, Chief. I
I
can't.
don't believe it, man.
I can't. I got nothing for you.
It's insane to me. It's truly insane. It's like if you took all the bad parts of Reuben Jones and Roddy Gale and put them in a body, that would be Evan Mahaffey. And he just somehow still always plays for this team.
Does this team make the tournament if they had Roddy Gale?
No, God,
Oh,
no. No
okay.
chance. No, not a chance. On the Iowa side, do you think what they did in this game is sustainable to potentially upset Illinois and maybe keep going in this tournament?
I do because I see a world where the playing style, obviously rivalry game, that's the first thing to point out. And if it becomes a 3 point shootout, right? Like they feed into playing that style of getting up threes and launching threes. In the first game, Illinois did a great job of not doing that. They really did inside out. But if they get into that mode where they're just jacking up threes, there's always a world where family and Sanfords and McCaffrey and Dix just pour like 12 to 14 threes pulling your head top.
Yeah. I think they're going to need these types of performances from Sanford and Dix, but that's also somewhat realistic, right? Like, I think Peyton Sanford can go 6 for 14. I think
Easily.
Josh Dix can go 7 for 13. Like, that's kind of what I expect from these two the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, and look, they're playing with house money. This is their last run. There's no postseason basketball for Iowa. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's like another tournament I don't know about that they might get, but
Are they playing for a crown invite? Is that what's going
I
on?
I don't. What's less than a crown?
I think they might be going to the crown.
Are they?
Yeah, they have the same record as Ohio State.
Okay, so maybe they are. I don't know if there was like a tiara available or something like that, but uh, their tournament hopes are kind of wayward and gone is what I'm saying. So they're playing with house money. They're going to be a team that can maybe try to carry momentum over from already playing the game. Maybe Illinois comes out stagnant. I think Iowa's at this point a dangerous team in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. What a
yeah,
time.
yeah.
What a time. Do you understand? This is not a bit. Like, I
This
just
means
live
this
for
this
this
means
league.
something. This means something to you.
Cart, I'm getting shivers talking about it. I live for this league, man. Like, I live for I understand there may be like things I say wrong from time to time, things go wrong. People may like me, may not. I don't know. But there's one thing I will fight everyone to the death on. Even if I wasn't doing this, even if I was still working the corporate desk job, if I was a kid in high school, I would live for this league because I have lived for this league for 20 years. This is like my shit. I love this. And Fran McCaffrey is a dude that matters to me. Like, I love watching Iowa basketball. I have loved watching this program my entire 2 decades as a Big Ten fan. And he's been the face of it because it's a really endearing brand of basketball. It's entertaining to watch Iowa basketball games. It always has been. And if this is really it for him, I want to see some Fran magic. Like, it warms my heart to have this happen. And I think it's happening. Like, I don't think they're done yet.
Seeing you get emotional over this is something, but I know it's genuine, and I know this means something to you. Like
It
a
gets me so excited.
Okay, actually, we're not gonna get too crazy. Is there a world where the family just carries them all the way?
So okay, here's my thing. Where do you think truly his job status stands right now?
I'm
Because
starting
even
to
if you
have
think he's leaving, it could be one of those situations where they're forcing him to leave and not him wanting to leave. That's what I think is going on.
so I've switched in this regard. Um, I thought it was just Fran leaving. Now I think if he leaves, it's going to be they want to move on from Fran,
Me
which
too.
I don't think they should do given what he is to Iowa basketball. I mean, Fran's so much Iowa basketball has got you emotional about Iowa basketball. So, um,
My program, man.
that's my
That's
team,
my
man.
program, man. No, I agree with you. I think that this is a situation where they've had conversations, maybe slipped him a sheet of paper and said, Fran, we're moving on. And you
Mm.
can retire. We will tell everyone you retired, but this is it. You have this year and this is it. I think that's what has happened. And I think Fran pushed back on that a little with his comments after the Michigan State game and kind of was just like, hey, I want to stay. And if I end up leaving, it's not me doing this. I think that was him leaking that. But then all of a sudden you throw this wrench. He goes to Lincoln and eliminates Nebraska, pops their bubble, goes to the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis, eliminates Jake Diebler, pops their bubble. Put Fran McCaffrey on the damn Grim Reaper meme, man. He's
It's
going
time.
one by one and sending Big Ten teams home. Punch their tickets, get them on the bus. And I look, it's Illinois next. Illinois is way better than Iowa. They might win by 40 like they did the first time. Or Illinois might shoot 2 for 40 from three. And all of a sudden you look up and this continues. If I'm Iowa, I don't hate this matchup, but I will say this. Kevin Keats did it last year. I'm not talking Final Four.
You're
Chill.
getting.
I don't mean it that way. Kevin Keats made a run that went from he is absolutely fired to he's not fired.
Mm.
Fran could do that. It has nothing to do with what happens in the NCAA tournament. But if he takes this team to Sunday of the Big Ten tournament after Owen Freeman left the team,
Mm.
I think he's coaching next year, Cart.
I think that's fair to say.
It's not going to happen, though, is it?
No, I got Illinois by 47.
But can the power of siblings get us there?
Family is powerful.
Where do uh where do the Sanford brothers rank on the all-time Iowa sibling list? Feels like third for me.
How many Iowa siblings have played?
The McCaffreys, the Murrays. There's definitely others we're not thinking of.
I would have the Sanford second.
Behind the Murrays,
Yeah.
ahead of the McCaffreys.
Actually, maybe behind the Murrays.
Okay. Well,
The
I'll wait for
McCaffreys
your
mean
full list on
the
that, but
McCaffreys mean everything.
I know they do. All right. Well, as we do on all of these, I think it's time for you to commemorate the year that was for the Ohio State Buckeyes and for Mr. Jake Diebler. The floor is yours.
When you go to a hot dog stand and you get a hot dog, but you get upset that you got a hot dog saying that you wanted a pizza, right? You can't get upset. You're the one who went to a hot dog stand. What else would you expect to get besides a hot dog? Ohio State fired their coach and went to a Diebler stand, got a Diebler, and now they're upset with how their Diebler's coaching. You signed up for it. You went to the stand. It's what you get. And it ain't getting better.
Let him go. Let him go. Can't blame Holtman
Diebler
anymore.
looks like Elsa.
Let him go. Let him go. All right. We'll see what happens to Jake Diebler. Ohio State, thanks for entertaining us in a humorous way. Go, Fran, go.